Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of the And Both podcast. 4 days into a trip to Kenya, Kristin Smith got a phone call. There was a baby. He'd already been born. Her family had been chosen. Come and get him. At the time, she was at an elephant orphanage, which is a very beautiful coincidence for the story, and spent the rest of the trip on the phone with doctors and social workers. She arranged for one of her team members to fly to Florida with her husband, who had NICU experience, and got home a few days later to a son who had arrived 7 weeks ahead of schedule and was waiting for her. Kristin is the founder of Well Supported Family, a team of over 200 postpartum doulas, newborn care specialists, and nurses operating across more than 12 states. And she has spent 20 years helping families survive those impossibly hard newborn weeks. She had her first daughter with almost no support, went through IVF in subsequent years, and now for the first time is on the parent side of everything she's built. In the episode, we talk about what postpartum care in the U.S. gets so wrong, what it actually looks like when someone comes in to help, and what happens when one of the country's leading experts in newborn care looks at her own baby and thinks, I'm pretty sure he's broken. Here's Kristin. Welcome to And Both, a podcast about what it really looks like to put yourself on the list while raising kids and doing all the other things life asks of you. I'm your host, Ashley Blackington, and on this show, you'll hear conversations with moms who are figuring it out in their own ways, plus a few solo episodes from me from time to time. It's not about having all the answers, it's about sharing stories, learning from each other, and knowing we don't have to choose between either or when we're living in the middle of and both. Let's get into today's episode. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the And Both podcast. My guest today is Kristin Smith. Kristin, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, this is great. So let's start with having you let people know what you want them to know about you, and then we'll go from there.
Awesome. So I'm Kristin. I'm a mom of two, a 22-year-old and a 2-month-old, and I am an entrepreneur, and I founded Well Supported Family and co-founded baby care classes.
Love that. So how did you start those companies? Like what were the things that led to both of those, and how and did you start them at the same time, or are they years apart?
Yeah, great question. So I actually had my daughter when I was 19 and didn't have much support at all. I actually went back to work when she was 3 weeks old and took her with me and had a huge push to teach her to sleep through the night so that I could function during the day. And then it was like 4 or 5, I became a postpartum doula. And I trained as a midwife, and I just realized there was a huge lack in postpartum care and support for new parents, especially around sleep, right? Like there's so much planning that goes into planning for your birth and how your baby's going to get here, but there's no planning once your baby was here and how you're going to transition into parenthood and function and go back to work eventually. So I started doing overnight newborn care, which became a huge passion of mine to help families understand their baby, learn their needs, but also know that it's okay to teach them how to sleep. So I had a private practice for several years, and then it got so big that I started an agency with a handful of people, and I thought that I would eventually have a team of 10 or 15, and now it's grown to a team of over 200. So it just kind of keeps going and going. So I started that company in 2016, so we are going into our 11th year, which is really exciting. And then baby care classes, I started filming right around COVID, and we launched it in 2022. And that was pretty magical because a lot of families who can't afford us to do in-home care can afford to pay $150 for an online course. And what we do there is we teach parents everything that we do while we're providing in-home care. So we teach them how to teach their babies to sleep. So it's a cool program for parents that don't have the funds or the ability to have in-home care, but still need that extra support.
That's really cool. So if somebody comes into your house, how long are they there for? Is this a couple weeks, months?
Yeah, that really depends on the family and what your goals are. So it could be anywhere from 1 night a week for a few weeks for respite care, just to kind of help you regroup and refresh. Or it can be 7 nights a week for 12 to 16 weeks if your goal is for us to get your baby sleeping through the night. So it dramatically ranges depending on the family. And we also offer in-home live-in care. So essentially 24/7 care. And sometimes that happens up to 6 months.
Yeah. This reminds me of is that I've seen all these videos of like it's like it's other countries. It has to be other countries, but they like people go and they have a baby and then they go basically to like a hotel and they have care there. And that's not to say that like that's the be all and end all, but like it just reminds me of like that level of support where you go in and people are like, we are here to help you. It's just kind of
Yeah.
wild.
It is so wild. And we have some cultures that practice like a 30-day sit-in period where they literally sit in bed for 30 days and the grandmother comes and cooks, warm, nourishing foods and brings it to them and everyone helps with baby care. Not a lot of families do that, but you're right. In other countries, they do have these hotels or spas. I think there's one in California. There was one in New York that didn't last very long. They kind of away from the like retreat aspect to more of in-home care.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's crazy. I mean, I'm not surprised that because there is such a fundamental lack of postpartum anything, but especially postpartum care. I don't know a single parent who didn't they were discharging from the hospital and the hospital comes and they cut the like electronic band off and they're like, here's your baby. And I don't know a single parent who was like, yeah, let's hit the road running. Like everyone is like me, like I'm even okay. I guess I do this now. Like no manual, no nothing, no sleep. And you just don't realize how beat up you are after you have a baby until you leave the hospital.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's true for like a vaginal or a C-section delivery.
Mhm.
Because if you go in for like, any other surgery, a knee replacement or any type of surgery, they're like, rest, 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 stay off your feet, off your feet. And you can have a wound inside your body the size of a basketball and it was attached. And just because nobody sees it doesn't mean it
Mhm.
doesn't. And so we don't give ourselves enough rest or support or comfort. And it's so awful that we just push them right out. Like, here you
Mhm.
go. Go home with this little wild wildebeest that's going to wake up the moment you get home. And it's going to be like living in a zoo because they don't sleep that much and all they do is grunt and toodaloo. Like it
Yeah.
is so, you know,
Yeah.
you don't know how recovery is going to be. Each recovery for every baby you have is different.
Mhm.
So it is not like I've done this before, I've got it. It's challenging.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I wholeheartedly agree. I do a part-time faculty work for a university in Boston, and the project that I have a graduate student working on right now is around trying to get occupational therapy services and physical therapy services into maternity care, into labor and delivery, all that stuff. Because exactly to what you were saying, if
Mm.
somebody goes in, especially for a C-section, but if somebody goes in and they have a major abdominal surgery, it's a given. People don't even think about it. They refer to OT-PT services for people to do an evaluation. And then there's training around how to move while you're healing, what this means, yada, yada. I mean, I did not have a C-section for any of my kids, but I had friends who had C-sections and I was like, this is horrendous that there's just nothing. It's like, have a great life. Meanwhile, there's like screaming.
Have a great life with a newborn that
Mm-hmm.
needs to eat. And they're telling you the best thing to do is rest your body. And it's like, how is that possible? Our medical system is slowly starting to improve. They're now covering a little bit of postpartum care. There are benefit companies that employees have through their employers that offer postpartum care, but the hoops you have to jump through to get it or be somebody who can provide care within those realms is hard. And it's
Mm-hmm.
frustrating because, just like you said, for OT or PT, you write a script and you're having an appointment, and it should be easier for people who have babies, and
Yeah.
especially for who have to go back to work or their partner goes to work. Like, you're kind of fending for yourself, And
Mm-hmm.
as a professional, I've been doing this for around 20 years. I have a 2-month-old who's adopted. So I didn't go through the whole giving birth and pregnancy and healing and postpartum. But this has been a really interesting shift of like how hard it is at this stage
Mm-hmm.
in my life. Right? Like, my first daughter was born when I was 19. I didn't know anything else, right? Like, I was young, I was energetic, and I could be up at night and bounce right back. And then, quickly got her into that sleep cycle, figuring out that we had to do this for survival. But this time has been so different. there's been an expectation that because I'm a business owner, I need to be present and available, right? So like I didn't get maternity leave. I got some, not a ton. And it just like, I think family and friends thought because we adopted this baby that we didn't really need support. And I can tell you that so many people offered to bring us a meal and only 2 people followed through. I was like, what is this? What is wrong with our society? Like I literally set this up and create this for a living. And I had all these plans of people to bring us meals and support, and like nobody followed through. And so
Oh God.
right? Like it's not just us in the medical system, it's our support people too. Like nobody realizes like your impact of backing out is also everyone else is doing that, right? Like it's not just you that's affecting that equation, it's everyone else. We got to do better than we're already doing because we coach parents on how to set up postpartum, how to come up with a game plan, how to have support at night and during the day and what works for your family. And I got a rude awakening with that this time around.
Yeah, it's so crazy. I mean, when you were just talking about insurance covering and benefits and stuff like that, I think, that stuff is all great and wonderful, but I wonder like the people who work for the places that are going to have this in place, are they the people that earn the income that they could buy it on their own anyways? Do you know what I mean? Like if they're already there, that's great. I think everyone should have it. I think everyone should be offered that, whether or not you deliver the baby or adopt the baby or however a baby comes into your life.
Mm-hmm.
It is. You like snow globe your entire world. And then, if someone's like, oh, I'll bring you this, and then they don't show up, you're like, well, I'm starving now. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's fascinating to me that, that people just can back out and not understand their impact in a situation. But yes, also going back to the insurance piece is, you're right, the employees that have these benefits can afford this care typically on their own. And the other piece of it is like typically have to pay for it ahead of time and get reimbursed by this company.
Yeah.
Right. And this care is expensive. It's not just like $15 an hour. It ranges from like 40 to 75 an hour based on where you are in the US. And that adds up, especially if you're doing, 5 or 6 nights a week for a good chunk of time. So it's not accessible. And insurance is lovely and amazing, but they're only covering like 10 to 15 hours, which is not a lot of care. So we need to do better in the US especially. And that's, why this company exists, is because we want to offer that. We want parents to have the ability to build their modern village because they don't live near their family or they have friends, but not near their family or loved ones that can really step in. We're kind of spread across the country.
So I was going to say, where can people have in-home services? Are you located in one spot or are you spread out?
Yeah, so our home base is actually Boston. We have a really large team in Massachusetts, and we're in 12, 13, 14 states now. So most of New England is covered. We do Florida, the Carolinas, Georgia. We're in Texas. We're in Arizona. We're in Chicago. But then we also have a team that live in RVs and travel around and can go anywhere. So we have an RV team, and then we have a travel team on top of that can go and either find an Airbnb near a family's house or live in with them. So we can make it happen all over the US and have worked in almost every single state. But in terms of like local teams, we have them in those states that I listed.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's super cool. I love that it went, like some people, they start a company and you're like, okay, that's really cool. I love what you're doing. And then some people start a company and you have that experience of like, oh my gosh, I wish I could have had this. I wish I could have accessed this or whatever. Like I am 0% surprised that it exploded. It's just a matter of like people being able to find and know that that's an option. Cause like so many, especially with my first, so many like late night, middle of the night feedings, where you're up and you're texting your friend because you're both trying not to fall asleep. And it's like, wouldn't it be nice if, and I've had this exact conversation, wouldn't it be nice if there was someone who could come in, yada, yada. Oh, magic.
Yeah, magic. And it's, it's beautiful because, every person has their own comfort level. So we always say to our clients, like, you can have your team member, your newborn care specialist, your postpartum doula shift things however you want. They can sit with you while you nurse and keep you company. They can leave you alone if you want privacy and go get you a snack and a cup of water. They can check in on you every 10 minutes if you want a balance of both of those. They can feed your baby, by bottle if you want to pump or do formula. Like we literally cater it to what the parents want. There is no like right set in stone. Our goal is to give them the support they need and meet them where they're at. And sometimes where they're at for week 1 and where they're at for week 6 are different. And we work with that and we're flexible. And we also try to understand their goals. Like, do you want us to come in and take over complete care of your baby? You can be like, bye, I'm going to sleep for 8 or 10 hours. And do you want us to come in a little bit earlier and work with you on swaddling and soothing and settling and understanding your baby cues? So it can be, we do it all or they can be a part of it. So there's a wide range for everybody.
That's really cool. How do you find people to be a part of the network, like the people that work for you?
That's a great question. We probably get 20 to 30 applicants a month that just find us. Or if we need people in like specific areas, we'll post in like newborn care specialists or postpartum doula groups. I'll do on message boards through like certain training organizations, Facebook groups. Like it really kind of depends, but we're mostly looking for postpartum doulas, newborn care specialists, RNs or LPNs, because we do sometimes work with like high needs medical babies or parents who want full on awake care. So as long as they fit those trainings or credentials or licensing and they have experience and have been doing in-home care for 3 years and are CPR certified and have fantastic references, they kind of fit our bill for what we're looking for. We have a lot of nannies that transition into newborn care specialists and postpartum doulas because they've worked with babies and young children for so long, but maybe want to change their schedule up or just do 24/7 care or just overnights. So we see a huge shift from that industry. But we really, in full honesty, don't have to do much searching because most of them come to us through our application process.
Yeah. I was wondering about like the post-NICU, like parents that are transitioning kids home from the NICU that have been there for a very long time. So you go from like an absolute, like full bubble wrap around care all of the time to like come home. And if they have needs, like if they have oxygen or feeding tube or whatever that's going on, like I can see how this would be like an unbelievable resource for those parents, especially as if they're in the NICU for a while and you don't get a chance to be there all the time, especially if you have other kids or whatever that is, like how valuable this would be for them.
Yeah. And NICU babies, range greatly on coming home with nothing or coming home with lots of cords and extra things like oxygen or monitors. But NICU babies are very interesting because they are used to an environment that has lights on and is loud. And there's beeping and people moving around and talking. So those babies have a hard time transitioning home because we typically tell parents to put their baby in a dark environment with white noise, opposite of what they're used to. So there's a huge adjustment for them for just that. I mean, they come home typically on beautifully put together eating routines. It's just working on, slowly acclimating them to like, this is nighttime and there's no beeping here. And try to be in a flat crib that doesn't have all these blankets around you because you're not on a monitor, telling us if you're breathing or not. So it is such a huge shift. And even a shift that like I didn't realize was so great until I had my own NICU baby. When we got home and I was like, oh, right, of course you don't like this sleep environment that I've put together for 20 years. You're used to hearing nurses talking and things beeping and these bright lights on. And so we had to gradually transition from all of that down to, a perfectly dark, quiet sleep environment.
Yeah. I mean, that's a huge shift too. Like you have an adult child and then you have a brand new baby child. Like how did that go? I mean, is your oldest at home with you?
No, she actually lives in Boston and goes to school in Boston and actually just graduated bachelor's and is starting her master's program. It is a shift. I didn't expect it to be as emotional as it has been. I've always wanted more children. My husband, not really so much. We also were really working on me building this company and building my career. So adding another child in until now was really challenging. But it's, we're moving her to a new apartment on Saturday with a 2-month-old. So I'm figuring this out step by step of like how gonna work. Um, but it's been wonderful and amazing and challenging and beautiful all at the same time. And I don't think it fully hit me until we were at our daughter's college graduation with a 5-week-old, and we were just like, what did we just do?
Yeah.
Like, what is like our paper bag and bottles, and we're going into Boston for a couple days, and this is not easy anymore, you know? So
Yeah.
it's beautiful and hard, and I wouldn't change it for the world, to be honest.
Hmm. Yeah, that's one of those things where like you have, I have some friends that they have two kids that are like back to back, like 13 months apart. And I feel like they went through the newborn, toddler, like early preschool phase so quickly. Um, and then there's people who have, bigger families it's more spread out where you're anchored more in the elementary school kind of phase for a very long time. But my youngest just turned 6 in March, and we went away for February break, and we only had to bring one car seat with us. And I was like, "Oh my God. Oh my God, we don't have to bring half of our house." Like, all the kids are long like potty trained, and they can they can eat the food in the airport and all this stuff. And it's just a weird, you don't even think about it until you don't have to do it anymore. And then for you, it must be like, oh, hold on.
Yeah,
Hold
hold
on.
on. I remember the moment we were coming back from where he was born, and I was out of the country when he was born. We didn't know he was coming. We got a call that there's this baby here, come get him. And so I was in Kenya, had to fly back to the US. So I had all of my travel stuff on top of, a suitcase and everything that my husband had to bring for the baby and a car seat. And we get to the airport and we have like 8 bags and a car seat and a stroller. And my husband looks at me, he's like, this is what our future is? And I was like, no, 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 no. This is like what's, because I have all of my travel gear and all of the baby gear and like all of the stuff from him being discharged from the NICU. Like, we'll travel with like half of this. But the look on my husband's face was like, he's like, we had a child who was self-sufficient. Like, what did we just do? Uh, it is a huge shift. And
Mhm.
I've had lots of children in my life. Like, I have over 30 cousins, and they keep just having babies. And I live on a really busy street with lots of little kids that are always over my house. So I feel like I'm always in some sort of child rearing position. It's just expanding what we're good at,
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, you also have like, I still like, I don't have a kid who eats baby food anymore, but I still have the spoons because same thing. Like I have friends who still have little babies and they come over and they're like, oh, we have to bring, like we left the gates on the stairs. They're like the retractable ones because I'm like, when we have people come over. And so there's people that are like, I love coming to your house because the playroom is on the first floor and you can like the gates and stuff like that. And I'm like, I can't imagine not having that stuff because it would just feel weird.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have baby gates up still. And this house definitely wasn't planned to have more children because, like, our bedroom's on the first floor and the other bedrooms are upstairs. So we definitely had to do some like shifting of things to have a nursery near our bedroom and move my office. And there were some things that had to happen when we're like, okay, we're doing this.
Hmm.
It will work out. We'll put up gates at some point and we'll figure out all the pieces to make it work. But I've always had like a cabinet of toys that have like a wide range for whatever child was here playing or visiting. So I'm excited to expand on that a little bit.
That's awesome. I love that. What is that call like I can't imagine. And I feel like it's the norm. Like we are going to adopt a child and then there's just this like black hole of when, where, who, what is happening depending on your situation. And so many people, it's like we got a call and they said like we have a baby.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and you're like, "What?" Like, holy cow.
Yeah, it's so to give you a little bit more insight. So 25% of adoptions don't work out, right? So that's 1 in 4 that are considered failed adoptions. We were matched with a birth mom due the end of January who had chosen us. We had talked with her. We knew the baby's due date. We knew that it was a girl. We had a closet full of girl clothes. And then she gave birth and decided to parent. And we were like, oh, like we weren't prepared for that emotionally and
Yeah.
mentally. And so then I was like, I'm going to go on a last minute trip out of the country. And I chatted with our social worker. I was like, how often do you get calls that babies are already born? And she's like, not that often. Go on your trip. And I was like, cool. 4 days into my trip, we got a call that a baby was here and that this birth mom, like, we were the ones she wanted. And I was like, I'm in Kenya with the elephants. How do like, what do we do? And so I'm up all night because we were 8 hours ahead talking to doctors and social workers and getting information. And I'm like, how do I even change my flight with everything happening in Iran and Dubai? Like there were so many complicated pieces. And so I arranged for my husband to fly to Florida with one of my team members who, has NICU experience and who we love and lives near us. And so they went down and met him in the NICU, and I got home a few days later. And it was the craziest, most amazing experience. And I don't fully think I'm off of that high yet I haven't even processed my trip yet to be able to like think about how that went. Never mind the whole like whirlwind of there's a baby waiting for you. Like how did work deliver it? Like it just feels so interesting and weird and hard, and adoption's interesting. Like
Yeah.
I never thought about or thought that we'd have to think about or consider. And like, it's not just like you're pregnant and you give birth and you bring home this baby. Like there's so many more pieces to it. But it's been an amazing learning experience. And I feel like at this point, I had a daughter at 19. I got pregnant on the pill. So I'm like that 0.01%. I've been through IVF. Like we tried to get pregnant on our own for a while. So I've done, 3 rounds of IVF, and I can talk about the emotional, the heartache, the like all the pieces with that. And now we've been through adoption. So I feel like, with what I do with parents and supporting them in journey, I can hit every angle on what it feels like and what it's like emotionally and physically to bring a baby into this world, right? Like however you choose to do that.
Yeah.
Because I used to have calls with families that be like, oh yeah, we had this long journey with IVF, and I just had no clue. I had no clue that was like physically or emotionally or, what they've been through. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I know. Like, and now I'm like, damn, that's really hard.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm in a different place to be able to support people at a much bigger level than I ever was before.
Yeah. I mean, that's an incredible value for the families that you work with. Also, I can't get the picture out of my head, like you standing in the back of a Jeep with like a giraffe looking at you and you being like, baby, what? Hold on. Is this thing on? Like, do I have service? Holy cow. I have to like,
Yeah.
is this for real?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Wild.
Like I had a tour guide, the same person the whole time, and he totally catered our schedule to like working around phone calls that I had to make the entire time. Like I had to talk to this doctor, or this person was doing a procedure on the baby, right? So like I had to be present for those things. So we just kind of worked our schedule around that. So it was really, really interesting. And I think very magical. I mean, one of the reasons I went back to Kenya was to go to this elephant orphanage that I fell in love with. And I was actually at the elephant orphanage when this baby was born. So that feels like so symbolic in a way that, I was going there to clear my mind and my brain and my heart. And this baby came during that time.
Yeah. That's pretty wild. I feel like that's one of those things where, our world is there's so many things that are black and white, and there's so many things that should be black and white that are not black and white. And every once in a while you have this like pocket of magic, for like lack of a better term, but like, where you just sort of, okay, I need a minute and I've got to, whatever. And the work that you do when you come in is that people who just bring a baby home from wherever they bring a baby home from, you're giving them that opportunity, whether it's like, I need to have a nap, I need to like go for a walk, I need like 2 hours to do, to like go to the store and buy all the things that I said I was going to buy, but then this baby was born early and now I still feel like the work that you're doing is helping people pause and then be able to settle and like sort of meet them where they're at and then go from there.
Meet them where they're at, figure out what their goals are in parenting and help them get there, right? Like if they're able to take a shower and their baby's napping, I'm like, well, let's figure out how to get that baby to nap in their crib and not in your arms. Let's figure out, when your baby's actually tired and pay attention to their sleepy cues versus just like plopping them down and being like they're wide-eyed. And I'm like, no, they are overstimulated and exhausted, right? So it's not just giving them the break that they need. It's helping them learn to build a life with their child, right? Like, I don't believe parents should build their life around children. I believe they should build children into their lives, right? Like, you shouldn't have to give up the things that you love just because you had a child. You should, work a schedule that works for everybody. Like, there's no reason why you can't be present for every single one of your child's feedings, but also have all of your needs met too. Because if you're not meeting your needs, then you can't take care of this baby. So it's figuring out that puzzle and putting it together and also telling them that they're doing a great job during the hardest season of their life.
Mm-hmm. Hey, it's Ashley. When I started my business, my first business, it felt like I had two options: figure it out on my own or pay a high ticket price for a coach, and there was nothing in between. I was a beginner trying to make smart decisions without burning myself out or my savings, so I built what I wish had existed. This course is 6 clear, practical modules that take you from first decisions to launch and beyond. No fluff, just guidance, structure, and support. And no how bad do you want it, or we all have the same 24 hours in the day guilt trips. I created it to help women build lives and businesses on their own terms, not just to sell a course. Listeners can take 20% off with the code NURTURED20. For more information, go to andbothpodcast.com. I think that there's a lot of parts of life that are really eye-opening and they help people like sort of clear out the stuff that isn't working and stuff like that. And I think that's definitely having a baby is one of those. Like my husband used to joke that like his favorite thing about me being pregnant was the fact that I would just throw out stuff. Like I was like, we have to get rid of like all the things we own. And he's like, okay, I appreciate what's going on here. And like, just keep some of, you know what I mean? It's like all of a sudden, like the basement I've gone through one end to the other. And it's like, this baby is not going to go down to the basement. Why does the basement have to be cleaned? And then it's like, then we move into the closets. And then it's like, all of a sudden, all of this stuff comes out. But it's just in all of that preparation. And then you have that space afterwards where it's like, okay, all right. But I don't want to clean when I have a new baby.
No.
Nobody does. It's terrible.
There's been people who've come to my house and they're like, this is not the Kristin we know. Like, what happened here? And I was like, a baby happened. And I took 6 weeks to unpack our bags from getting home. And I mean, I have like a whole dumping zone in my kitchen now that didn't exist before.
Yeah.
And now I'm just like, whatever. I've spit up on my shirt. It's going to be there all day. I'm not changing my shirt 4 times. Like, it just is what it is.
Yeah, I've embraced the shawl.
I've so embraced it. Yep. And it's so different because like working Kristin in a family's home would absolutely change her shirt, be presentable like I am on a job. And I would, write in the log every single time the baby did something. And I drilled myself like mentally. I was like, you are not working. You need to enjoy this. So it's okay if there's dishes in the sink, like even though you hate that, that's okay to like take it a few extra minutes and snuggle with your baby. So I've been trying really hard to like embrace this as a parent and not as which has been a really big learning curve for me.
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be hard because you're used to being that person who does all those things.
Yeah. Yeah. And at one point I was convinced he was broken because he wouldn't nap in his crib. And I was like, my baby's broken. I'm a professional. What is he doing? And then one of the women she's like, he was 4 weeks early. You're expecting a lot right now. And I was like, right. He's 2 weeks adjusted. Thanks for that reminder. My work brain and my mom brain weren't connecting. Right. So it was really funny where I had a few days where I was like, guys, I think he's broken. I don't know what to do.
I had one of my kids never napped in her crib. Never once.
Nope.
And I know people who are like, oh my God, they didn't, and blah, blah, blah. I was like, she's the third kid. If it gets quiet in our house, she's like, I must have been left here. Everyone is gone. I'm not kidding. She used to crawl underneath the coffee table with her blanket and have a nap. And I
I
was
love
like, 2 children ago, I would have been like, oh my God, I am the worst ever. Now I'm like, well, she's under the coffee table, so the dog's not going to step on her. And, we just sort of like move people around-ish in a quieter space. But she's 8 now. So she survived. Like she slept
Yeah.
when she needed to sleep, and
Yeah.
she's the best sleeper of all of them.
And it's crazy. Like the third child, they know what they're coming into, right? Like they hear it all in utero and they know that this is not a calm environment.
Mm-hmm.
The second child is kind of the wild one where they're like, oh no, I need all the attention. What are you talking about? There's a first child, like all eyes on these, right? And the third, just like, whatever, you could put me on the roof rack and I'll be fine.
100%.
My only like hard, fast rule this time has been that he can be held for every other nap. Like you cannot hold him for every nap during the day. Like we also need to practice putting him down. And so at week like 6, I was like, okay, now we're going to work on those crib naps. And now that I know you're not broken, we're going to do this. And now he naps in his crib. And his stroller, we, did a whole outing the other day at IKEA and he napped in his stroller twice. And I was like, oh, you're so good.
Yeah. That's amazing. Because IKEA is loud, right? So he's like, all right, I must be back. They're like 150 million watts. I think I go to sleep now.
Yeah. Yeah. The loudness, the brightness. He's just like, what is this place? Eyes bugging out. But then he crashed because I was like, you're tired. Good night. Put him to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
We're not just going to sit home. I mean, we're going to go on outings and meet my daughter and do all the things. And he's just going to learn. So
yeah. Did you have somebody from your agency come in, or did you go solo on this?
I had someone from my agency come in. We
I
still
love
get
that.
2 to 3 nights a week. Yeah. I am really practicing what I preach right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it has been such a game changer. I can't even express to you how amazing it's been. And I went in just thinking like, I got this. I'm a professional. This is all I've done my whole life. But like, I don't get to come home and take a 4-hour nap uninterrupted, right? There's like this little human here that needs me. So we do. We have support 2 to 3 nights a week. And it has been so amazing. I even have her come at 5 p.m. one day and I hand him over and I'm like, I'm going to go take a hot shower. I'm going to take a bath. I'm going to go for a walk and you're going to be with the baby and I will come back for his feeding time. And that's all I want to do. It's been really amazing.
Have you noticed things that now that you are on the parent side of it versus the provider side of it, has anything in that perspective changed for you? Like, has your experience of the services as the parent changed how you think about it as a provider?
Yes and no. So, as a provider, I am very strict on following the AAP safe sleep guidelines, like to a T, right? If we have parents that don't want to follow them, they need to sign a waiver. My little guy spits up a lot, so I put a burp cloth under his head at night, which is like a hard no for AAP. But for me, I'm like, well, he's not sitting in a puddle. I can change it. And it's better for him. So like I'm breaking some rules in that aspect. And I think that the way that I communicate with parents about their wishes will be slightly different, right? On like understanding that this is what works for them and this is where they're at, opposed to being like, well, this is how I would do it. And I don't come out and directly say that. I give examples of things that have worked and have not worked, but I think I'll hear them in a different light of what they really want and value more than I ever did before.
Yeah. How do people find you? Is it through like, I can't believe that you don't have 2,000 people working for you. Like, and this is, I'm still blown away. This is amazing. But how do parents find you? And like, do you meet them before the baby's born? I'm assuming you meet them before the baby's born or maybe after. I don't know.
Not typically. So Most of the parents find us either word of mouth or on Google or social media. So we're www.wellsupportedfamily.com, and they can go and fill out a contact form. You can like click the button up in the right-hand corner of the page. And the moment they email us, we send them a link to set up a discovery call. We have a whole team of people that do that initial phone call. Then once they decide that they want to work with us, whether it be days or overnights or 24/7, we send them an intake form specific to those, whatever they're looking for a service, right? And once they fill that out, we have another admin team called team leads that go through and filter those forms. And we have a team lead for each region. And we actually match families based on their preferences and area. So we match some with just one person who we think is going to be a good fit for their family. And they have the chance to do like a Zoom or phone interview with them. Very rarely do we have families do an in-person interview because our process is so clear and straightforward and our matching is so good. And we rarely have families come back and say, I want to meet another candidate. So it's a very straightforward, easy process. And then once they figure out if they want to work with that person, they contract us, they pay a deposit, and then we're on call for them starting at 38 weeks. So we keep, in touch over text or email. They keep in touch with their team member over text or email, sometimes do like video or call check-ins as things are getting closer. They have questions. But most families meet us after their baby's here.
Oh, like in person, they meet you after the baby's born.
Yeah, typically their first night home from the hospital.
That's cool. I like that. Yeah. And thinking back to like the first night that I had home with my daughter, when my like first baby, and I was like, oh, we are not in Kansas anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. And the first couple nights home are the hardest, right? Like I always say it's a very wet period if you are the person who gave birth. Like your milk is coming in, you're emotional and crying and the tears are flowing. You don't even know why. You're healing down below from whatever type of birth you had. You're still bleeding. You're still like, losing all that water weight that kind of built up in the end. And you're having night sweats and you're waking up soaking wet. And it is hard. So to have someone there to help you change the sheets or take a fussy baby that might not necessarily be hungry, but doesn't know that they're not hungry and just wants to suck, but could suck on a pacifier or, a clean finger to get them to settle and soothe so you can get a little bit of rest can be such a game changer. Or even just to have someone be there and be like, you know what? This is normal. Your baby's doing exactly what they're supposed to do. They're just in the world for the first time realizing that they're not in water anymore and that they're here and they're waking up. And to have someone guide you through that and teach you how to swaddle. A lot of babies will like freak out and scream when you're swaddling them. And I always explain to parents, I'm like, this is not because they hate being swaddled. They hate the process of being swaddled. And then once they're swaddled, they're just like, oh, that's magic. I did that. So just to have someone there to teach you how to do a butt tap, like a little gentle butt tap on a baby or a certain way to hold them or, like there's so many things that you just don't know that we come in and help you with.
Yeah. I mean, just even, I feel like half of the battle is just feeling like, especially first babies, is like, am I doing this right? Right? Like there's so much pressure on moms to like do the right thing, to be the natural caregiver, to be all of that stuff. And so much of that is language and it's ingrained and it's culturally shoved at you and all of that stuff. And there's plenty of people out there that, and I think it even varies like baby to baby. There's plenty of people out there who, your baby's born and you're like, okay, so what happens now? Like it's not everything happens like a Lifetime movie. And
No.
you still want to, no one wants to mess this up. I don't think anyone goes into parenthood and says like, well, let's see what happens. Like, whatever, people really want to do a good job and they want to know they're doing a good job. So that reassurance is huge.
Right. And I always tell parents, I was like, there's no wrong way to do this, right? Like it comes down to what feels good to you. And I was like, and just like a newsflash, your teenagers gonna hate you no matter what because they're a teenager. They're not gonna hate you because you didn't feed them enough or you burped them too hard. So like if you do something wrong now, it's okay. They have no idea it happened. You don't have to tell them. That can be our secret. And then you're going to kind of figure this out as you go.
Yeah, there's so much. I mean, there's so much learning. Like you said, like babies are learning that they're on the outside. They're not. Now they're cold. Now they're dry. Now it's bright. All of that. But there's
Yeah.
just as much learning that's going on for parents and parents that, maybe don't have any experience taking care of other kids or seeing
Yeah.
babies.
Yeah, and babies are so wildly different. Like some love to be bounced to sleep and some are like, "Don't touch me, just put me down." Like, and so learning what works for your baby, it's trial and error. It's like I always
Mm.
say, when you date with your spouse, did you know how they like their coffee? No. Did you know that they like to tie their shoes on ahead of time or slide their feet in? It's like those are things you learned over time. Your baby can't tell you that. They're going to tell you by crying or being calm, right? And you need to learn and listen to their cues and understand what they like and don't like. And you might try 10 things until you find one thing that works and settles them. And so once you get that information in, they're like, oh, it did take me so long to learn my spouse. I can be patient with this process.
Yeah. And, there's not just 10 things to try, there's 100. So if it takes 10, it's not like you've exhausted all your options.
Exactly.
So in all of this, given the fact that you have a 2-month-old now, and I think you had sort of mentioned this, you had definitely mentioned this, like having support come into the house and stuff like that gives you that time and opportunity to do things for you. But how do you see managing the business and your everything else that you have going on? Like, how does the math work for you in terms of keeping you on the page?
Yeah, that's a great question and something we're actively trying to figure out. Previously, I was working like 20 or 30 hours a week and had a place where I was just starting to get a little bit of my life back after working 80 or 90 hours for a really long time. So I think the plan is for me to come back part-time for a while. I mean, I've always kind of been here, but like have active working days. So I think, my goal is going to be working 3 days a week and the other 4 days to be with this little guy. And we haven't decided if we're going to divide and conquer our schedules, if we're going to hire part-time help to come in home. We're still kind of navigating all those things. But right now, it works out pretty well for me to do things in the morning like this because my
Yeah.
husband goes to evenings. And so we divide and conquer. But he also has things he has to do during the day. So we're figuring that out. But I think right now that's kind of the plan is I'll come back, 2 to 3 days a week, do all the things that I absolutely have to do. But I am getting really good at offloading and figuring out things that I don't need to do that somebody else can do. So
Yeah.
that's been a huge process for me to go through is like, it's okay if you can't do it, if there's somebody else who can. There's a few things that I can't offload that I'll always have to do. So I'm trying to find that happy balance of what works.
Yeah, especially as you have a very forward-facing business. There's a certain amount of you that has to be front and center.
Yep. Yeah. And there's always somebody that needs something, right? There's always, somebody that has a question or needs my support or yeah. So it is a fine balance of figuring out what works and how to make that work.
Mm-hmm. Where do you see everything going and growing? Like what's kind of your ideal?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to expand into 3 to 4 more states in the next couple years, or maybe this year. I'm known for launching in 2 to 3 new areas at a time. So I might just like jump in and do it. I would love to eventually get so that this company has a team in every state and that we really can be the pioneers for in-home postpartum support. That's my plan so that, building our team with more newborn care specialists and postpartum doulas and LPNs and RNs, and then also building my administrative team to help tackle those teams. That's really, I would love to add in mental health support. I really think that that's our next big move is
Yeah.
figuring out not so much like therapy, but like, awareness
Mm-hmm.
on the signs and like check-ins around that. I think it's really important, and there's a lack of that in the US
Hmm.
specifically. So I think that that will be our next big move. I've kind of been working on a plan for that for a little bit that I haven't fully launched yet, but those are my my
It's
big things.
all the plates that are spinning at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, I'm at my best when my plate is full. Like,
Hmm.
I'm the most creative. So, like, I'll sit there and, feed my little guy, and that's when things start, like, flooding in, and then I'm just taking memo notes on my phone of all the things I'm thinking about. So, my brain doesn't fully shut off ever,
Yeah.
for coming up with ideas.
I love that though, finding a way to balance it so that you have not balance, I hate the word balance. Finding like figuring out how to navigate the entrepreneur drive and the motherhood drive and the like all of the other parts is it's like what is it? Oh, not like a race course, but you know what I mean? Like you've got all these pylons that you got to go around and you got to
Yeah,
keep
it's like
keep track.
carousel.
There you go. I like that
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
It's a much
yeah,
prettier look.
and it's like, what's coming, and you know how to plan for it with a little bit of flexibility,
Hmm.
right? Like, you need to stop for some mechanical issues every now and then. And I think that, I'm trying so hard to really accept that this parenting journey is so much different than when my daughter was little. Like, I didn't have the time or the ability before to be like, I'm only going to work part-time, right? Like that's a huge statement. I worked overnights the whole time she was little so that I could be present during the day, but I was exhausted.
Yeah.
And I was starting the agency, right? But it was really important to me to be at her sports games and to be at her school events and to make sure I was present for those things. What she didn't see is that I was, drinking 3 cups of coffee on my drive home from a shift and then burning on both ends, right?
Mhm.
She's, "Oh, I need my cleats. I can call mom. Mom will bring them."
Mom's asleep in the driveway.
Or some I'd sleep in the parking lot of her school in my car. Like, I got really good at figuring out how to make a bed in my car. Like, no lie. Sometimes it was out of necessities. Like, if we were at a tournament weekend and she had to be there 2 hours early to warm up, I would go back to my car and sleep so that I could be present and, like, focus on the games.
Mhm.
Trained myself to be able to sleep anywhere. Except now with this little guy, I'm like listening to everything differently because he's mine,
Yeah.
which again, so different than working. But, I am excited to have this parenting journey be a little bit different.
Mhm.
Um, in the realm of like we have different resources and we're able to do certain things, and I can work part-time. So I'm excited to see how that unfolds.
Yeah. It's stuff and this stuff the baby world changes so quickly. It just like the products that were available when my oldest was born and my youngest, they're 7 years apart. It's like I just did this, right? And I just had to replace this and like they don't even sell it anymore and now we've got this. It's just it makes your head spin how quickly stuff comes out and stuff that was the best is now terrible and you're like, "Okay, holy cow." So I appreciate the fact that you have somebody that comes into the house who's like, "Listen, this is not the hill that we need to die on right now."
Right. Right. And it's so different from 20 years ago, 22 years ago. My daughter slept on her belly. She like belly sleeping was acceptable then. And now I'm just like, I would never put him on his belly.
Mhm.
Right. Oh my, the car seat
Spaceships.
spaceships that were forward facing from like 8 months and on. Right. Like
Mhm.
there's so many things that I'm just like, well, she survived, so we're good now, right? It is absolutely crazy. Like I when I was nursing her, she had a really bad milk allergy. So I had to stop nursing her because there wasn't like non-dairy alternatives. And now I walk through the grocery store and I'm like, "Oh, to be a nursing mom or a lactating mom right now,
Mhm.
there's so many things you could eat. Like, you could enjoy everything that you love that
Yeah.
comes either cashew or coconut, and the steps we've taken as society are just amazing in that 22 years.
I love it. Yeah, I mean, it's going to get better, right? Know better, do better, all of that.
For sure. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I would love for you to let people know where they can find you, and if there are moms out there who are looking for support in whatever capacity that means, where can they find you and get in touch?
Yeah. So wellsupportedfamily.com. You can read about our services. You can contact us through the website. You can find us on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. You can message us. We'll message you back. You can find me on Facebook under Kristin. I'm not with my last name. I'm under Kristin Lee. So you can find me there and feel free to ping me and ask me questions. I'm always happy to respond in the middle of the night when I'm up with my little guy. Well, for questions for anything. So there's nothing too big or too small. We're here for you for whatever season you're in.
Love that. Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. I love being here.